get the video? Why don't
Oh my God, crack this up because I'm using my iPad. There you go.
I see you. Yeah, there we go.
No, wait, do you see me regular though?
Hang on.
Okay.
The meeting is being recorded.
Yep. So I must have something I got to figure out. This is an iPad and my my laptop doesn't record my voice. So, and all right, chat settings. I'm trying to see what I have on here for the picture. Done. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. I'll just look at us funny. It's pretty funny the way I say it. It's not a hologram.
To you, you know, you can just put me on gallery, put me on speaker view.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, okay, oh, I have an idea. Hold on a second, just so you see what I'm talking about. It's a setting that I must have on. Hang on. Okay, watch. I'm going to take a picture. Okay, I'm sending this to you. This is what I see. You. Send. Done. How have you been? Did you have a good Christmas?
Please click OK.
Okay, I just sent you a pic of what I see.
What you texted me?
A text. But that's okay, it doesn't matter.
I can't see you now.
What's that?
I can't see myself or you, but you can hear me. For some reason.
Let's see. I didn't change. Done. The video is on.
You see me in my speaker view, it looks like. It looks like. So you're on speaker view and you can see me.
Right, but the picture, never mind. Yeah,
oh,
it's
all distorted. I see.
That's why I was saying, yeah, it's distorted. So I must have some type of view on. But as long as you can see me, that's fine.
But I can't.
I didn't mean that sounded horrible.
For some reason.
You lost the thing. I didn't change any settings.
I have no idea because I saw you. And now it says, please click OK if you see this dialog. And it says,
wow, this is so weird. Okay. All right.
I'm going to open it again. I'm going to leave and come back.
Okay. Ken, look at this. It's so creepy.
Oh, no, I'm not. There we go. I got you back.
Okay. All right.
Weird looking. Ooh.
I know. Well, it's like when I open my mouth, like it's fluorescent, and my teeth. It's actually really funny looking. It's more entertaining than the other. So anyhow, so what we'll do is I'll just ask you some questions, right, on this, and there are no set questions that I ask. It's just I'll start, and then I kind of let your answers lead me to my next questions, right? Okay. It's a conversation, but it's more, I don't talk. You do all the talking.
Okay.
Okay. So are you in a place where you're comfortable talking?
I am pretty much, but I forgot my water bottle.
Well, go fill up. If you need water, go fill up. How many of those do you drink a day?
So I'm in my studio, in my dance studio that I rent.
Okay.
Member of. Because I didn't want to I didn't want to kick my husband out again. But I forgot my water, but this was here and I just fed the plants because they're dying.
Oh, I thought you drink a couple of those a day.
I just had a little bit, so I'm good now. We'll start.
You sure? Okay, all right. Okay, so, you know, we've talked before. Normally I would just start like BS stuff, but to get comfortable. So I will do one BS question. So what'd you do Christmas?
We flew in Skip's little plane up to Kingston, New York to visit my nephew, who's a single, recently separated, single young, he's in his 30s, sweetheart, I love him. And his mom, who was my former son-in-law, who came down from Syracuse, and the four of us had a lovely time together.
Wow. Where does your husband fly out of? Atlantic City? Or
North? Oh, belongs to a club, and they have three planes, and he
Oh, so they can rent the plane, like part of this club, they can rent a plane?
Yeah. So he belongs to the club. He's got 3 planes. He pays a monthly due.
Right.
Pays so much per hour, and you just reserve the plane online.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun. Do you like flying in the small ones?
Yeah, I have to say I like it.
Yeah. I remember one time I flew in a small plane like that, and we were coming in at night, and it was really, the pilot was having a hard time because the lighting, something about the lighting planes.
It's a
But
little scary at times.
yeah,
Things don't go 100% right. They mostly do, but having done this now for 15, 16 years, we've had a few situations to deal with, but he's so well trained and so competent,
yeah,
that he likes it when things happen because it allows him to practice all the things.
yeah. Challenges. Who's he fly for? And does he work? Does he fly for his job?
Yeah, no, it's a hobby.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. Now we'll get into the thing. So one of the questions I usually start with that kind of gets the ball rolling is, has there ever been a point in your life where you felt stuck?
I felt stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Lots.
Lots. Yeah.
I feel stuck right.
Yeah. What have there been things that happened before? Like, are there situations? Can you find any similarity in the situation that's going on before the time you get stuck? Like major life change, or ending a relationship, starting a relationship, anything that.
My first thought is that major life changes make me feel unstuck, because that shifts things around a lot. So I feel like it's so. The first thought that came before that was the word ambivalence. That's connected to my choice of career, my choice of how I spend and do my time and do my energy.
Yeah. So that's a precursor for you, that you feel stuck and that you can't find that.
Yeah. And there's often relationships around those stuckness, like mentors with whom I feel a tremendous ambivalence and tremendous dependency and neediness. And I don't feel my own autonomy, but at the same time, I fight against it. I was reading that very thing in the Sun magazine, New Yorker.
Okay.
I rebel against authority, and I'm totally dependent on it. And this guy, Peter Schellendahl, do you read the New Yorker at all?
Yeah.
This is a guy written art criticism for many, 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 many years. And he just got diagnosed with terminal cancer, and he wrote this incredible self-disclosing article in the New Yorker about himself.
Wow.
He's only written art criticism all over the years. Anyway, one of the things he talked about was, and I gotta go back and see how he worded it. He feels he's anti-authority and he's dependent on authority. And I have been stuck. That's a place that I have gotten stuck at a lot in my life. And I still feel it. I feel very stuck. It feels very old. Sure, it's fucking old.
Yeah. I love that. All right. Well, let's examine. Well, let's look present first. Like, so when the neediness, like what happens, what do you think will happen if you don't? Is it the attention for the neediness, or is it to actually?
No, I need guidance. I need attention. I need to be witnessed. I need to be affirmed. I need mostly I need attention and witnessing, because I can go off, just give me a little attention and witnessing and I will manifest things. But it's, I'm thinking about my dance mentor who she's been a lot lately. This was a very major dance mentor, and I was already pretty old because I started dancing late in life, but I had she was a bitch, and I had a conflicted relationship with her. Because I needed her and I wanted to learn and I wanted to be what she was. and I wanted to be special, and I kind of worked my way into being a little bit special. It took a long haul, but things do take time. You have
Yeah.
to earn your way, and I've since understood that. You have to earn your way. I got my place. I was placed in the front room in the dance class, which was a big deal, because then you're showing up,
That's,
you know.
well, so let me ask you a question. How do you define special? Like, what do you interpret special to mean?
My first thought to that is, yeah, I have this entitled thing that I'm special, but I guess it means, kind of entitled, kind of a better than people,
Better than others.
that's that kind of grandiose part of me that I have.
Yeah. Do you feel better than other people in dancing?
I feel really inadequate all the time in everything. And I also have that special thing. And I think that's another part of my stuckness, is that I feel special and I feel like crap.
Yeah.
That keeps me very stuck.
Yes, that's the creative brain. But
Something.
I mean, can you recall going back years the first time you started feeling like that?
I remember my mother saying things to me like, "You're my creative spirit, you're my free spirit," and kind of looking on me adoringly, but with a distance. And then at other times, being very critical and very trashy and telling me I walk like a cow and I'm retarded. And so I had it was those weird messages that sort of, really planted their seed very deeply. And I know all this cognitively, but
So how does okay, and if you have to close your eyes on this one, to get into the moment, but close your eyes if you want, and take just a few breaths and try to think back to when she'd say that stuff, right? Since you know it cognitively, we're going to try to get to the feeling, all right? And just try to pull yourself back to that time. And my eyes are shut too, so and take a breath in. And just breathe it away. Put your hand on your heart and breathe in and blow it away. Do one more. Breathe in and blow it away. And just try to think of those conversations, and when she'd say that, like, what did you feel? Like, what were you feeling when she told you that how special you were and that you were free?
Yearning. It feels mixed, but I feel a yearning for it. I feel addicted to it. It feels addiction-ish. It feels.
Okay. Did you feel inside that you were that way, or was something you wanted to feel that way to fulfill her words? Did it make you feel sad or anxious or angry?
Separate out. So deep and so old, but you have to ask me a couple times that question.
Okay, all right. So did you feel free and that creative spirit, or did you want to feel that way because she saw you that way?
I think I did feel it. I feel a little detached from it, and it's hard to grasp it wholly, but I think there's a kernel of feeling it, that's truly me. It's truly a part of me. I've gotten that feedback so many times over the years.
Yeah. So
fucking feedback all the fucking time, you're creative, you're creative, you're creative, you're so creative, you're so creative, you're so creative, you're so creative.
So what goes in your head? I'm gonna say it. You're so creative. You're so creative. Tell me real quick what's in your head. You're so creative. You are so friggin' creative. It's amazing. You're so creative. You are so creative.
I don't know what to do with it. I can't decide what to do with it. I've run from one sort of thing to the other. Well, I try to do everything, and I've kept them somewhat similar. I haven't done everything, but I don't know what to do with it.
What feels best? What do you want to do with it? What feels good? What feels right?
I want to avoid it. I want to run away from it. I'm lazy. I don't want to do anything. I want the stress. I don't want the pressure. I don't want the, I can't do it. I can't, that's fucking first grade. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's really old.
Yes.
I
So
was
what?
in first grade. I was in first grade, and my teacher said to me, I said to my teacher, I really can't do the work. I was feeling lazy and scared and anxious. And she said, "What's the matter with you? You can't, it's not that you can't do it. It's because you don't want to." Basic, total shame. I still carry that too. And I know about this. I know about this.
So, okay. Do you want to be creative? It's okay to say it. Do you want to, or do you feel like you're supposed to?
I think I love it. I love it when I'm involved in a creative project and it's moving forward. I love it. It's really satisfying. It's really fun and it's often successful. I have good creative instincts. That's the core of me. That's a good thing about me. It's a good thing about me. But it's also hard and scary, and it's kind of a competitive world out there. And I'm running away from it,
Do you run away from the dance, the creative part of it, or do you run away from the non-creative part?
I'm so scared and shy. I've just become scared and shy. Like when I lived up in Massachusetts, and it felt very organic, that the creative things that I did, they just kind of happened. I don't know if that's really the case, but my memory just kind of bing, 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 bing. And when I came to Philadelphia, I thought that was going to keep happening, but I had no base of support, no history, no nothing. And I just kept sort of trying and failing and trying and failing and trying because I got shyer and shyer because I was lazy. And then I got a full-time job teaching music, which felt really responsible and really grown up, and I did a good job, and I did a good enough job.
Yeah.
It was overwhelming, really. I'm surprised that I could pull that off, every day. But I did it for 10 years.
That's a long time.
I started the program, and I feel like that package of my life was successful. And I made money saved for my retirement, and I have a pension, and so I let go of that because it's hard. I never felt like I did it totally well, frankly. But I think I did well enough.
Well, you didn't get fired, so
I didn't get fired, and I got a lot.
That means you did it well, right? If you didn't do it well, they would have fired your ass. So listen. When you were talking about that, though, there's a lot of pride in what you were saying.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to send you this clip so you'll hear. I will tell you, though, what you're saying, like my son's a creative and I'm a creative and his friends are creatives. We're all fucked up and everyone's like that. You got that, like, I think because it's scary. There is
part of the package.
Yeah.
Reading that guy's article too, it's
like in order to have, so did you ever have your creativity blocked?
I don't know.
Is it blocked now? Like, could you ever not, besides dance, is there another way that you express your creativity? Writing, designing, was that singing?
I love singing, and I had a singing group that was very, very satisfying for 12 years. I directed, I founded it, I picked the repertoire, I loved what we sang, we improvised, we made our own arrangements. I love that, and I've been wanting to start something like that here, but I feel blocked about that. And I don't always 100% feel clear what, I want to be in a band. I want to compose. I want to, I did a show last May as part of this co-op, and it felt very successful and very compelling and really satisfying, and it was good. And I did some really interesting, original things that, I don't think a lot of people have done, in terms of playing music and improvising movement and then I played it, and I made a duet out of a Debussy solo. It was really creative. And
So do you feel
it-
good after you do,
what?
while you're doing it, the
Yeah,
creative, while you're in the midst of it? Does it feel good or does it feel bad?
really, really good. It's
And
the best.
before it, does it feel good or bad?
Well, sometimes I go through a kind of,
Yeah.
anger, anxiety.
You're not alone on that. I do the
Yeah.
same thing with speaking and everything because I work best. And I don't know if this is ADD, creativity. I don't know what it is, but I know my son's the same way. Once I start planning, I'm in deep shit because then I got lost in, and I get stuck in planning. Like if I just do it, I'm
But I
fine.
never get stuck prior to the planning. I procrastinate and I'm so anxious and I'm so afraid and I feel like I have no idea what to do and I'll look at the blank page for a long time.
Mm.
Then once it starts to flow, it usually flows pretty.
So, whoa,
Planning goes well.
yeah. What do you do besides dance to feel in flow?
Writing sometimes, improvising on the piano a little bit, playing a little on the piano, although I get stuck in trying to improve my skills.
So what happens if you don't improve your skills? Like, what's the outcome? So, okay, so put yourself, let's say you want to start a group, right? Which, by the way, I joined, but you want to start a group and you're not sure, what's the worst case scenario that goes through your head?
No one wants to be in it.
So, and what's that say about you? Does it say?
I'm not worthy. People don't love me. I had that a lot around here since I've been in. That's so sad, but because when I was, like I told you, when I was in Gloucester, I was kind of famous, but it felt like it was a little bit not deep. It was kind of like that sort of superficial thing where you sort of, your ego gets stoked. And since I've had a lot of failures, and I feel like all my failures has piled up, and no one cares about me, no one likes me, no one thinks I'm any good, and none of that's really true. But I go to that place.
So what does going to that place? What's the benefit?
I guess it protects me from taking too big of a risk and truly failing, because I can kind of stay in this little, like, not trying space,
Yeah. I mean, we all get there. I mean, I've been there too. And it's like, yeah, it's, I find myself hiding sometimes when I don't feel in flow.
I hide a lot.
Yeah. Did you hide when you were younger from your mom?
Yeah.
Is she still alive? Did she ever see the real you before she passed away?
Performances. They both came.
And what was her response? By the way, this isn't therapy. So if you feel like you're getting to a point that like feels really uncomfortable, I don't want to push you because I'm not a therapist. Okay. Just so you know. Okay.
So, she
Oh, I
came.
was saying, yeah.
I think, and I really hated her for the from age 11 till in my late 30s, and she did come, and I often felt afraid of her coming because I thought she would disappear if I was successful, that she would disappear and go poof if I was creative and successful. That is so old now, and it's not. I think I know better than that. Like, she really did come to my things, and she really did. And I've really thought back to that relationship, wishing I could have maneuvered it a little differently. Wish I had more resourcefulness that I could just kind of.
Well, you were young. I would,
young.
yeah. So
big.
what's interesting though is, why did you think she'd disappear? Had she ever done that before when you succeeded?
Yeah, I think a lot of us, I mean, she was pretty wounded individual. And, you know, when my sister threatened to move to San Francisco, my mother had a complete panic attack. She was pretty dependent on some sort of subconscious, you know, blah, blah, attachments to her kids, blah, blah, blah. But, but in terms of me, you know, I think that she, you know, she had a lot invested in me, her own, you know, that whole projection thing. She had a lot invested in me on some hand that I did not, and I rebelled against it.
Yeah.
At the same time as I couldn't help but do it. You know what I mean?
So what did it look like when you rebelled?
Well, I would, you know, like not dress up for certain things and not let my armpits grow. And I won this competition as a flute player.
Yeah.
I beat a lot of other youths in the whole region, and I got first prize. And my prize was to play in a concert, and I sabotaged it. I didn't practice. I got there late. I'm laughing, but it wasn't funny. I mean, I played, but I didn't play that well. And I remember, I sabotaged it.
I did that. Yeah. Oh, wow.
And then I got stuck. That's the stuckness. It's that stuckness between
knowing you can be big and being afraid to be big.
I guess.
Yeah, I get that. And that, yeah, that back and forth. I mean, so when have you felt most proud? About anything. It doesn't have to be.
I felt really proud of.
What was that?
My singing group. I felt really proud of. You know, and I still have, you know, posters on the wall, and I love looking at them and remembering.
Was it just a one? What happened? Was that the one up in Massachusetts or down here?
Up there.
Yeah.
It's still, they still stayed together after I left. They're still together.
Now, what brought you down here? Your husband?
My husband. And I feel proud of this relationship, but it's also has been a challenge, a huge challenge. And I feel proud that I have intimacy with him and good companionship and partnership. And he plays a role in this conflict that I have. And I think it's because I project onto him, my mother, that he doesn't want me to succeed either, that he's conflicted about and that's crazy. I feel like that's a little smaller than it was, but you know, but I still struggle with that a little bit. And I've made a lot of choices over the last 16 years since I've been here toward the relationship. Because there's a part of me has wanted to not, you know, I want my friends, I want to perform, but I've made a lot of choices because I thought that was the grown-up, appropriate relationship thing to do. And I think to some degree that's true, but I think it's been hard for me to do both. And I used to feel this severe, you know, what was the word? Dichotomy, like either I'm a creative artist or I'm in a relationship.
Yeah.
I think I've pushed through some of that because I think especially doing that show last year, and Skip ended up being my partner. He actually helped, and he helped a lot with the show. He did things that brought my creativity out.
Wow.
So I think that was a big accomplishment.
What scares you about succeeding?
It's going to be too much work. I'm going to be too busy. I'm going to be, I won't have enough time to myself. I won't have enough peaceful time. That's a new thing. That's a total retirement kind of mode because, you know, semi-retired, I have joined that world of you know, just not having too much commitment and being able to read what you want when you want. So that's kind of up for me now. Didn't used to be the fear of success.
So in that mode,
yeah.
How do you feel in the mode where you don't have a lot of commitment? Do you thrive in that mode?
no, I'm trying to balance it out.
Yeah.
I'm struggling. I don't have enough commitment because I don't know who I am. When I'm not getting feedback, I have no clue. Like that's the depression part. I feel worthless. I compare myself to other people like crazy. Look how much
Mhm.
that person's doing. Look at that person. And I feel jealous of people that are famous.
Yeah.
I feel just ridden with that. And then I think I don't want to be famous, but then I feel jealous of people that are famous. That's just a painful chronic blah.
When, you know, what was I saying? So like, do you have brothers and sisters?
Two older
Yeah.
brothers, one younger sister.
Mm. How's it, were they creatives or were they more in the box?
They're all pretty creative. They're all
Yeah.
in services and creativity. My older brother's a really good guitar player, singer, and he's a minister. But he's had a rough time. We've all had a rough time. This brother has a high IQ and has schizophrenia and really worked a day in his life, and he's pretty high functioning now. My father bought him a mobile home, which is, he has a stable place to live, and he gets money from the family. My family has real estate, which happened. My father passed away 2015, and there's this hotel on the land that he grew up on, and that is still in the family. So we each get some money from that, which is not a bad bit of money. So this brother, he's kind of paranoid, has many projects. He's like got 20 projects all going on. He's a little hoarding. He's a little, he's very eccentric.
Right.
And then there's me, and then my sister, who's 6 years younger than me.
Okay.
I was very close to growing up, but she and I are estranged.
Okay. How is, when do you feel most like you? Have you felt like you since you left Massachusetts?
It's been rocky, I'll put it that way.
That was a big change, right?
Huge.
Yeah. Did you think it would affect you this way?
I have no idea. And I got very depressed, which, affected and I've been up and down with depression. I was on Lexapro for a couple of years, which maybe kept the bottom up here, I think.
Yeah.
I just started taking it again because the last 4 weeks I've been pretty depressed. And the person that I see, who's a nurse practitioner, psychiatric nurse practitioner, she said it's not good to spend too much time in that space. Your brain, it's not good for your brain. It's just, maybe research shows the more time you spend there, the more time you have a tendency to go back there. So you want to try to treat the brain in a way to keep the serotonin flowing. That's the theory. I know they don't totally understand.
Yeah.
Because when I'm creating, I don't feel the need for depression, antidepressants. I've known this about myself, and I stopped taking them twice in the past because I had a project that kept me focused. But once the project is over, I struggle. I don't know who I am anymore. I feel, so that's the two sides. I mean, I love the luxury of not having to get up and taking my time and
Right.
paper, having lunch with friends and, that kind of relaxing thing.
But everybody needs purpose.
Yeah, but purpose. Yeah, that's what I wrote on my little thing there, is that I semi-retirement purpose struggle. And I think about many, many, many things, I'll volunteer over here, or I'll join this group, or I'll start my own singing group, or I'll, and I've done a few things. I joined this cooperative. I play with a pianist. We've done some playing together. I did that show last May.
Yeah. Now, what was that show?
So it
was that the dance one that's on your website or YouTube?
My website does have that's something I did at a conference a couple of years ago. I don't think I have any video from my show because I haven't edited it yet, but I have that video waiting to be edited. I'm not sure I would show it on YouTube because the angle of the camera wasn't particularly good, but it was a really creative, fun show. I called it If We Listened to Birds Sometimes, because I did a piece
Right.
that had that in the title.
Okay.
Where I talked and gestured, I choreographed.
Right.
There were two flute players playing, and the composer wrote the text and the flute music to go together. And it was really cool. It's a cool project. It was successful.
Yeah.
And then I did the piece with the two flutes and the solo dancing. And then I did a piece that I had choreographed the fall previous as part of a group choreography that we did from this co-op.
Yeah.
10 tiny dances.
Oh. Now, do you still talk to the people in the co-op?
We don't ever get together. We don't have meetings. We don't, I mean, I email, we text each other, but we used to have monthly meetings, but we haven't been doing that. I should recommend that again.
It's a huge difference when you're creative if you're not surrounded by creatives.
I need that.
I know. I've suffered with it myself. And it's because to fit into a linear world when your brain isn't linear doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good.
And I had a challenge with my husband because he's a very linear person. And you know, at times it's a dynamic contrast, but at other times, because there's probably some sexism involved, and also tendency for me to devalue my way of doing things and think that his way is best. You know, I struggle with that because I have a hard time, you know, because he's more organized, he doesn't lose things, he manages money better, he knows computers really well, he has history, you know, he just is so much better at so many things. He loves me a lot.
Yeah. So
As best he can.
you know, by not being linear, I'm trying to think how to best phrase this. What do you think's in your mind, what's your biggest failure? What's your biggest?
I have a lot of failures.
So tell me some of them.
You know, I've had 2 marriages that didn't succeed. I've changed my career around a lot, even though they've been kind of in the same ball game. But my first choice was to be a dance movement therapist, and I went to graduate school, got my degree, and I did it. But I was restless, and I wanted to perform, and I wanted to teach, and I wanted to dance, and I wanted to. So I kind of did all those things. That's not totally a failure.
I was going to say that to me sounds like a success.
It does kind of sound like a success.
Yeah.
But I have a number in my head that I do that says, you know, you're fucked up because you didn't stay with this and you didn't stay with that. And look at this person who stayed with it, and look what there she is. I compare myself a lot.
You know, yeah. I thank you. Was it first grade teacher? Mine was the second grade. Yeah. You know, I think that happens a lot when we're pegged as being lazy and flighty and whatever. Because it's not really, I had to give myself permission last year, was it? Like you, up until this past year, I try everything. Because how am I gonna know if I don't like it or not if I don't try it, right? But you can't follow through with everything. And right. I felt overwhelmed, and I quit something I started. I thought, no, this isn't what I really like. And finally dawned on me, I'm like, I'm not a quitter. I just know I don't like it. But like, I try stuff. Other people don't try everything. And it was the first time, but it was going back to grade school when they didn't know what ADD was. And so you're bright, you can't achieve anything. Lazy is the only thing they know it could be.
Sad, but yes.
It is sad. And I think that's the fear of failure too, because we've been told we're lazy and stuff so much that I say the same thing. I say the same thing about success, like it's that freedom. It's what if I commit and I don't want to do it? But in reality, there's never been a time I've committed to something and not shown up. Have you ever not been accountable?
I think I have a history of showing up. I think I do.
Yeah. For social things, not so much. But when it comes to a commitment I made to a work type of thing, I'm always there, you know? And it goes, I mean, one of my, ironically, when I quit work or when I started personal development, the two beliefs I was trying to get over was I'm not alone, or that I always felt with my parents alone, with my family, like unsupported, not alone, but unsupported is the right word. And the other was that I was too much. I was always told I was too much. Well, after all this personal development, I am too much. I have fucking ADD. Yeah. And in reality, I don't have anyone around to support me because I surrounded myself with linear people and they get frustrated. They don't understand the way my brain works. It still means nothing about me, right? But, it was funny because you have these beliefs and some of them are, I remember the first time I went, I'm like, oh shit, I really am too much. That was an false belief. But it is.
But there's a reason. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person, that you have that quality.
No, it means nothing about me. It's the way my brain works.
It's good quality, actually, at times.
It's actually a beautiful quality if you're doing what you're meant to do.
Yeah.
So this computer business, I don't like it. I don't like it, but I don't know how to get where I need to be without owning a business.
Right.
So I feel what you're saying now, and if it were up to me, I would just go out and like pound on doors and say, hey, listen, I'd really love to. That always worked, but doesn't work with linear people. I've always worked with hurt people. Who have ADD, I'm sure, or some type of trauma brain, right? Works with those people. Doesn't work in the real world. And that's what I'm facing now. And so I think for the creative brain, you just have to be do what you feel best doing. Fuck the rest of the world. I think that fuck you attitude, like watch me, I'll do what I want. I think you need that. I think when we lose that, that's when we're in trouble. You know what I mean? But
I know that. I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you. And
if you had a partner to do it with,
it helps to have people. I feel weird here. I feel very weird. I had such good connections, and I keep thinking about moving back there. I mean, Skip said he would do it, once his parents pass and he's done with his obligations here. But I'm like, I'm ready to, I go back there a lot. And
so do you feel different when you're back there?
Yeah.
You do. So you feel
myself. I really do. I'm a little scared to say that because what if I go back and I find out that I'm not? But it's not like everything was perfect when I lived there.
But you felt authentic.
Yeah.
Do you remember back when you lived there that like the dichotomy, the split?
The dichotomy split?
Well, like, did you feel so on two ends? Or did you feel more as one?
I think that my life manifested constant creativity and constant collaboration and flow and learning. But I think I always felt that struggle inside.
Yeah.
Inadequate.
Yeah. Did you ever write a letter to your mom? No? Obviously you can't send it, but just.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I've had lots of.
Because no one's going to see it but you.
Yeah, I've had lots of conversations with her in my head that continue to evolve.
But maybe if you get them out of your head, right? And then writing frees the creative part of the brain.
And you know what? One of the things that appealed to me about your story and having a conversation with you was talking about intuition and listening to intuition and following intuition. My intuition kicks in a lot when I'm in a creative project, but in general, I don't know what my intuition is, like what time should I get up? I have no idea. Can you tell me? Where
Yeah.
today?
Well, so here's what I found. When your head gets so filled shut, it's hard to hear your intuition.
Mm.
So when I'm out of flow, which I've been, like I know there are lessons to be learned, but it's not feeling good. It's frustrating because like you, I know my intuition was like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know how to get there and have a living. And so the other alternative, right, is going, fuck reality. I'll just go do what I want to do, which is what I'm figuring out how to do now. But that's scary because especially if therapists in the past, whatever, told you might feel a little crazy, like just to not believe reality is, and totally trust
Reality, you're sort of saying. Believe your intuition over reality.
over reality. Yeah.
It's tough when you have a partner because I can
It is.
tell that his needs is as self-sufficient as men can project that they are.
Right.
He's very needy.
So here's the sad reality.
We need our attention and our loyalty and our connection and our support and stuff that we do for ourselves. He would deny this totally. He wouldn't deny that he's needy. He would acknowledge that, which is good. But I think he doesn't really want me to hold back. But he doesn't want me to run off either. But that makes sense, right? He doesn't want me to run off.
That makes total sense. Well, I remember, would he ever want to run off with you? Like,
Well,
can you bring out, because usually we're attracted to people who they have something that we yet haven't developed in ourselves.
he's very attracted to my creativity and spontaneity, and he's
So
also
maybe
a little scared by it. But he made the choice to give it a good try, and he's very happy with the relationship. It's been tough, but he's happy with it.
what's a part of him that you don't resonate with? The organized and all that?
Organized, grown up. He fixes things. He knows how things work. I love that. I never even thought how the plumbing worked in the basement or how the water from the city came into our house. I really like learning about that.
Has he ever gone dancing with you? Or does he sing?
I don't go dancing enough. He doesn't. He feels a little intimidated by my dancing, and I think he does his best to dance with me, but he feels a little shy about it. But yeah, he has, and he will. And I need to do more of that. I love dancing. I don't know where to go. Going dancing is one of my favorite things to do, and I'm not.
I know, and no, I was gonna say it's kind of cool because but he's danced with you. I was gonna say maybe like if you could. One of the cool things, and I didn't do any of these in my relationship because I didn't think of it back then because I wasn't healed, right? But like to actually sit down with your partner and like not make a contract, but just like you make a list of what you wish he would do with you, and he make a list, and then make a commitment to each other to like at least once a month you do something from yours and something from him.
Great idea. I mean, I think
you have to have a partner who's willing to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of guys are like, yeah, right. But if you have a partner who's willing to do that, to bring out, next time he fixes something, come watch, show me how to do that. Right?
That's what we've been doing. And I really like it. And he's like giving me some chores to do here and there. So I've been like partnering with him. It's been fun.
Yeah, that's cool. And he's not critical if you don't do it right. Right?
He's very particular, and he can be very critical, and sometimes it drives me crazy, but that has gotten a lot better. We used to fight a lot over it.
Yeah.
Just like, get your fucking micromanaging hands off of me. I call him micromanaging, but That's a lot better. It just happened a couple of weeks ago. We went to sushi, and I said, I'm going to pay tonight. He said, oh. He said, okay. So I get the check, and I start looking at the tip, and he like leans over and goes, put $20 down. That kind of thing.
So what, it's funny. What's that? When he does something like that, what's your first response? What's in your head? What's in your gut? What are you feeling?
So I start to feel inadequate.
Yeah.
Like he knows better than I do it. I don't know, and I'm bad at math, and I'm not good at this. And that's where I fucking go. And because of that, I can be mean and nasty because I get really pissed. But when I'm in my best place, I can say, this is Skip being Skip, because that's how Skip is. And I need to tell him that that's not okay. I'm doing the check, and this is very invasive. But what I said was, stop micromanaging. And he hates that word, which makes him mad.
So you trigger each other. So what about, what I started doing, because if you know you're having this self-talk, right? That's like a huge step over most people. Most people don't even realize it. But instead, no, I don't have anyone living with me. So what I ended up doing was I would just say to myself, like in that case, I'd say, you know what? You're not like, whatever, inadequate. And this is just, it's not about you, his issue. And so it's not it's like anytime you notice you're triggered, toot your own horn to yourself. Like, don't have to them, right? Just put it's not as effective just to say, I'm not this. You got to replace the I'm inadequate with I am totally adequate. I am more than enough. I started and I set my alarm on my phone now. Twice a day it goes off and says, I'm enough. And I repeat, I'm enough 15 times. I am enough. I am enough. I didn't think that was an issue, but who knows? It might be. Can't hurt, right?
I think my self-talk needs definitely.
So, we've talked about your struggles and your successes. Like, what's your greatest fear in life?
My greatest fear. I guess it has to do with being alone, being desolate, being broke and homeless. Something like that. That's my greatest fear. That's what comes.
When you close your eyes and you picture a person who's a creative, what are words that you would use to describe a creative?
Colorful, free, inspiring.
Are they surrounded by a lot of people?
Actually, there's a lot of space around this thing up in the sky. There's this colorful thing in the sky with a lot of space around it.
Where they live? What kind of neighborhood?
Well, I'm seeing the city because I think that's because I'm in like North Philadelphia right now. Crowded and there's trash everywhere.
They have a lavish lifestyle?
No, but there's some space and there's some nature and there's some trees and there's some grass. I really long for that. I long for that nature thing and some gardening, the gardening. You garden?
I used to. I don't have anywhere to garden now, but I used to. I didn't really garden well. I just had fun playing in the soil. I'm like a little kid. I blew bubbles. I got my hula hoop here. I hula hoop in the morning at work. Can you say it? I just do it. Yeah, I just do it for a couple minutes. And there are times I'm forgetting. I'm like, no, do your hula hoop, What was I going to say? No, where I was going with that, I was trying to see, like, a lot of people have a picture of this starving artist, this someone who's like just this free spirit, but not responsible, but you don't.
I don't anymore. I mean, it's, I'm 63, I'm 62. I used to somewhat have that. And I've certainly observed how I think having comfort and luxury and ease of life is not necessarily good for making art. I think I have observed that.
Yes, you're right. The struggle, the guy that relationship probably 10 years, you know, the Bon Jovi guy, he said, he goes, sorry, all artists are fucked up. They have to be artists. You have to have a tortured soul, or else you can't create.
Something like that. And
yeah.
the studios, you know, like, you know, they're the one we just moved to this new space, but often there's, you know, the bathrooms are kind of crappy and
Okay, yeah.
and we just moved to this new space, and it's really a nice space, but it's in the middle of the hood, you know.
Yeah.
And it's okay, but it's, you know, it's a different kind of space, and I know some people are not going to want to come here because of it. Because I've talked to some of the people from our Mount area. Oh, you know, I'm not going to come over there. But anyway, I like that. I like the connection to the edges of life, and the, you know, the connection to, I don't want to be too comfortable and too luxury, you know, have too much luxury, but I want to have some. I love my water. I love, you know, being able to go out and have dinner at good restaurants. And
when you grew up, was there more luxury? Was there more lavish or not lavish?
It wasn't lavish, but it was plentiful.
It was plentiful.
That's what I was describing as. Comfortable, plentiful, big house, big yard, summer on the Jersey Shore, you know, very comfortable. Very plentiful.
What was your relationship like with your mom when she passed? Like you said, for up until you were 30.
Yeah, I kind of shifted gears and stopped fighting with her and started loving her and being accepting of her and patient with her. And, you know, we didn't have long heart-to-heart talks, but you know, I know some women who did have that with their mother, and I wish I could have had that with my mother.
Yeah, I never had that. Yeah. You know, did, what was I gonna say? When that happened, you came back, were you feeling, were you doing more of what you wanted in your life?
Yeah, I think that's, did have a sense that I was, you know, I'd been through my bad marriages and I'd gotten out of them, and I had my singing group and I was performing and I was teaching at a conservatory, and I felt like I had a little esteem. Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah.
Myself. And then she got Alzheimer's. She got really impaired, and for the last few years of her life, I was mostly a caregiver, not primary caregiver. My sister was, and I used to hug her and lie in bed with her and look at her deep in her eye, and her vacant eye.
Yeah.
You know, it was very precious.
Yeah.
I was with her when she died.
Oh, I know. I was with my mom too. I figured she was there when I came in. I'll be there when she goes out. But yeah. Now, how was your relationship with your dad?
We were much closer. He was a bit remote, but he liked me a lot and loved me a lot and approved of me a lot. He gave me a lot of positive strokes. And I'm a lot like him. I have a lot of mannerisms. You know, my nephews look at me. That was just like Grandpa would do. You know, I have a certain that outgoing part of me, and that part of me is like my dad. And
so did your mom like you?
I think she had difficulty. I think she projected a lot of herself onto me. And I think she liked me, and she criticized me. And she had high expectations for me, and she was jealous of me. I think it was a very conflicted, mixed up, challenging dynamic.
Yeah. I've done that to my son at times, I think, too. And actually now I'll say something, and, you know, I'll say something about one of his songs. He's like, what do you think? I'm like, not one of my favorite. I said, your voice sounds good. It just doesn't do. And I'll say, well, he'll do a new song. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? He's like, well, I didn't want to hear a negative. I'm like, well, that wasn't kind of mean. Like, do you want me to just tell you I like everything? Because so there's a very fine line.
I mean, that makes it much more doable when you actually can talk about it. You can say,
Yeah.
I don't want to share with you because I think it'll be critical. And then for you to say, well, do you want me to like everything? I think that is healthy relationship stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think you can't avoid that challenge. If I never had a kid, so I don't know what it's like, but I'm imagining that you can't avoid the dynamic of them needing your approval and wanting your approval, and you not approving of everything. You just can't avoid it.
Well, it's funny. My son needs my approval on tons of stuff, which makes me feel horrible. I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? And I said to him, did I yell at you?
Catch everything. Repeat.
Oh, I said he needs my approval for everything. It's like he's afraid. Like even if he would run out to the store for me, he'd call me, and I learned like a year or two ago, I don't answer. I want him to have to make a decision. And so we were talking one time, and I said, did I like criticize you nastily? Because my parents were very critical. And he goes, well, no, but what's that?
We often repeat what our parents.
Well, no, he said, no, not to me. He said, but I heard the way you were with Dad when he used to always come home with the wrong things. And I went, oh shit, I just can't. I said, well, they don't know. I said, I used to give your dad a friggin' written list and come home with the wrong things. I'm like, and I hated my husband, So
interesting.
You're always going to fuck up your kids somehow.
Right, exactly. Right.
I mean, it really, one of the most telling things my son said to me, though, we were talking about like, what mistakes I made. Cause I'm like, well, tell me, like what I want to know, since I've been doing all this deep work with ACEs. And he said to me, what, probably the worst thing you ever did was you encouraged me when I didn't I gave him credit when credit wasn't due. I made him a millennial. Kids know, like he said, you just constantly boosted me up. And then that's just as damaging as being critical.
Yeah, when you mentioned that criticism thing, I'm imagining being a parent that lavishes support and praise and go, but that can be problematic too, I guess.
Yeah, that can be problematic because then you feel like you can't live up to what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you can't win. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
I don't.
Watching life.
Yeah, I know. So who do if I asked you, like, who do you see? Describe the woman you see in the mirror now. Not physically, the woman you see in the mirror. When you look in the mirror, who do you see? What do you see?
I see basically a good person, smart, which I didn't always know that about myself, but I think I am smart. Not about everything. I have my weak spots, but I'm a really kind of deep thinker. And I'm really good at taking disparate influences and putting something together. That's the creative process,
Yeah.
Taking a lot of different things and then forming it into and I used to love doing it with my singing group. I would pick materials and songs and tunes and readings, and I used to form these programs that were very beautiful, very moving. And I see somebody who struggles to be an educator because I feel like I don't know the answer to things. I'm not somebody who feels like I know the answer and I can teach you. I just feel more like a conduit or a facilitator or a person that plays with the elements but doesn't. I've always struggled with that teaching role, even though I did it for 10 years, but I struggled.
Yeah.
My principal would come and I'd be doing choir and she'd be like, you can't really partner with your 80 student population about, you really have to speak expert here, but I always had this tendency to go, everybody's not listening to me and it's driving me crazy, but they're talking about important things. So I don't want to make them all be silent. I mean, I was just in that place all the time, which is a challenge as a teacher because kids really clear.
Yeah, I'm not a good structure person, which isn't good as a parent. You know, I know that hindsight now. Kids need some degree of structure for stability. Yeah, but I'm like you. I don't did you know, I mean, and that's the thing, because when you were younger, where'd you thrive best? Structure or no structure? Or middle of the road?
Really important.
Yeah.
Really
It's your
important.
coping mechanisms, right? So that's why I found out when you took yourself out of Boston, or not Boston, Massachusetts,
Yeah,
whatever the town was,
an area, yeah.
you took your coping mechanisms away. And then what's left is,
Skip's coping mechanism, which are not
yeah.
I had, you know,
Well,
right.
no, but what's left underneath your coping mechanisms is the unhealed part of why you develop those coping mechanisms, right?
Yeah.
Like some of the, I mean, everyone has their own coping mechanisms.
Right.
Mine was connection. That's how I stayed resilient. And I still think that's good. But I've noticed here, by taking away my coping mechanism, my identity, and throwing everything that's unfamiliar, I do believe there's a point where too much change too quickly is not healthy. But the good news is, if you get through this with like getting more of a sense of who you are, you know, and I've struggled with this in the last year when people made me put a label on what I do. Like, you know, because in business, what do you do? Well, I like help people buy heavy. I don't know what I do. I know I provide value, but I don't know how to put a label on it. You know, same thing with you. Am I just, you know, someone said you're a guide, but your question, you guide people to like go places they normally don't go. I don't know, but I've struggled with that. But that's my whole life. I never had to, I was a nurse. I didn't identify with a nurse, right? Like, but I didn't care about labels. I don't care who you are.
Nurse is such a practical thing because you can get a job and make a living and provide for your kid. Like I'm
Yeah.
always impressed when someone says, I'm going to go to nursing school, you know, like good for you. You know, that's because I
Yeah.
mean, you can get a job and you can make a living and you can provide for your kids
Well, see, yeah. I mean, it's not why I left work, but since then, because all the stress, whatever, like I don't have, what's that?
You identified the codependency thing.
Oh yeah, the codependency. Yeah, yeah. I think most nurses are. But
Yeah.
but I can't go back to nursing even if I wanted to, traditional nursing, because fine motor skills are shot in my fingers, and I can't be around like real bright lights, which takes a lot of nursing, you know. I'll find that.
Yeah,
But
that's a lot of, wow.
yeah.
That was one of the reasons for teaching too, is because I was having hearing loss. Now I could have just gotten hearing aids, but it wasn't just that. It wasn't just
Right. It was, well, that's what I'm saying. If I wanted to, I don't want to
yeah.
go back to what I did. I left for a reason, you know. I was really good at it and it served me well. But you know, I mean, there are times, and I'm going to say this because I don't know if you ever resonate with it. In this period of uncertainty, I find myself going a lot, I just want a parent. Do you ever feel that way? And I think, yeah, I never had one when I mean, I had two, but I never had somebody who gave me any direction. It was like, figure it out.
I felt that a lot. It's
Yeah.
funny right now for some reason, but I have felt that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel it right this minute. I feel on some level, I feel that that's not there right now. It's like,
But that's good though.
I think it's an evolution.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
good. I mean, I think I'm feeling that way because I don't know. I'm kind of like this intuition thing is cool when it works out well, but it can be really scary because I'm going, what the fuck am I going to do? I'm like, I just need someone to run this by. I need a parent, you know. But you know, some of the
Sorry, go
what's
ahead.
that? No,
Say
just,
have enough peer relationships to do
right.
that with.
I don't. And the ones I have are all business. So they're giving me things. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do that. That's not me. I've tried to do that for a year. It is not me.
Is
I got to
Keith,
figure out how to do this my way.
can Keith
No,
pro-
Keith, I don't talk to him a lot. I like him though, but Keith is not like one of those linear people.
Yeah.
If a nurse, if her wall is down, is perfect for me to hang out with because they've lived in both worlds,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, that's
When her
interesting.
wall is down. If her wall's up, I'll do good with people whose walls are up. I don't know how I relate on that level, you know.
Keith would
But
be a good, I would think Keith would be a good peer because he's in both worlds and
he's in, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I think he's very intuitive. I think he operates from intuition. I think, I'm not sure, but I think so.
Yeah.
You think he does?
I think probably.
Yeah.
You know, most of the talks we had were more like deep, like life philosophical stuff. And I think though he did a lot with same population I did and in home care. And to be honest with you, when you're doing that, you need to focus on intuition.
Mm.
In a hospital, yes, some, but when you're in home care, you need your intuition.
Mm. I bet that's
You know,
because
yeah.
you don't have the structure.
You don't have structure, right? You don't have structure, and there's no one to run things by. You are it. It's your call.
Yeah.
Which is scary. So here's the thing that, and maybe what I did at work was very scary to someone who didn't know how to do it. But it was my comfort zone. So it wasn't scary,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Going to
connecting with who you are
yeah.
when you're not in your comfort zone is very hard. So the idea is to, what I've been trying to do is I do whatever I can to feel safe with me, right? Which means spending a lot of time with myself. But when I'm doing that, like a lot of touching, I like a lot of times I'll just sit there. And it was funny, I realized the other night I'm laying in bed like this and just breathing and saying, hey, Leslie, how you doing? So comforting. And all of a sudden dawned on me, I'm like, oh shit, that's what we do with dead people, right? Because you're coming home to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
and that's a somatic piece. That's a somatic piece.
this is huge. Whenever I get stressed out, and it makes me feel more grounded, you know, or if I'm laying down a lot too, I'll put my hand on my stomach and just feel my body, my abdomen as it goes up and down. Just that slow, and it connects me to me, right? Because I don't have to be anything. You know, that's where we get in our heads, like, and that is so funny because I'm not living my message now. I'm trying to fit into this. My message was living like with heart and the freedom to just be. Fuck the labels. I don't care what you do. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do, right? Like, and thinking that, a question I like is, you know, what do you want people to say? Imagine, close your eyes, you're at your funeral, but you're dead, right? But you're up. What do you want people to be saying about you?
That she loved us, that she loved,
She
that
loved, yeah.
gave, that she danced, that she sang, that she was a good spirit. I mean, I guess I would them saying I worked hard, but that doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
It's everything. Even though I have a lot of shame about not working hard and not being productive enough, that's not that important when it comes down to it.
No, it's not. So, all right. So, and here's where I think that question is important, like, because I kind of say the same thing. I want people to say, wow, you know what? She really taught me how to like accept other people and just love, just for the sake of loving, not anyone in particular, right? And I think, am I living that now? No. You know,
Right. That's a great little
are
tool.
you living that now? What you want people to say?
Because I'm not living it enough because I'm too caught up in my own self
Yes.
patterns, thought patterns that
When you write, can you get out of your head?
sometimes not. But, little things have gotten me out, going out with friends, talking to friends, mostly being with people, in,
Yeah.
relationship. That even my husband, just doing things with him. I've been able to, go out to dinner and have conversations. And last we went to dinner a couple nights ago with a couple that we've never gone out before. He's a judge. Skip grew up with him. And I was really great. I was a little nervous, and I used to feel really insecure going out with people like that, like I'm not smart enough. But I felt really, I felt very participatory, and I said funny things, and I said smart things. So that made me feel good. So going out, yeah.
So oops, sorry, I'm on a rolling stool and it just rolled. Can you get out of your head when you're out of your house, but when you're alone?
It helps. Being out of the house helps.
Yeah. Like, can you get out of your head when you're alone?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
If I engage in something.
Yeah.
From my own, it's been tough lately. I think there's a seasonal component to my.
Yeah. I think that may be true too. And I think, to be honest with you, as you get older, I think there's something that, they're all different phases, but how would you define?
Yeah, I have thoughts of like, ooh, what's going to happen to me? But that can play a part too. Yeah.
Yeah. How
am I getting Alzheimer's disease? Oh my God, my memory is terrible.
How would you define love?
Love is a vibration of tender caring and acceptance of self and other.
Yeah, I love that. That's really good. Yeah. How about trust? You have trust issues?
Trust is tough. Yeah.
What is trust?
What is trust? Trust is feeling safe enough to be vulnerable.
Yeah. When are there times that you don't feel that way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When are those times? Like, where are you? What are you doing?
Safe to be vulnerable. I think my household, I never felt safe to be vulnerable. I think growing up,
yeah,
was very unsafe. And I had my first thought that came to my mind was my sister. And I think all of us have just been ravaged. we had a rough, ravaged several years when my parents were failing and my sister was coming in to take care. My brother was distant. My sister was pissed. My brother borrowed money and my sister was really pissed. And my sister was spreading my dad's mother and I was kind of pissed. And we had this rough, awful 5 years that.
How old were you back then?
I was a grown up. I mean, it was 5 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it was recently.
And it ended up with this total estrangement.
My
brothers and me, but between my sister and everyone. And so vulnerability and trust is just not there. And I think about my sister all the time, and I think about, I've reached out to her on a couple of occasions to talk about mediation, and we end up just getting into a, we just can't go. We can't get anything accomplished. And then I got a letter from her daughter, a terrible letter, attacking me and telling me how horrible I was, and saying terrible things like, "You've had so much therapy, you'd think you would, be better by now. Why don't you do more therapy?" Very kind of sarcastic. Really hurt my feelings. Really, really hurt my feelings, and it made me mad at her. So that's where it is.
That's hard. That's hard.
Yeah.
Was your childhood safe to be vulnerable? You said no, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, it's important to be able to feel vulnerable. That's what that's where the early trust is created. And I think my marriages were fucked up. I couldn't pick the right person. I picked not the right people.
Well, don't blame yourself for that, because if you're not aware of what you're doing, you're going to attract the same, you know what I mean? The wrong people.
Yes.
I mean, we attract what,
Yeah. I did the best.
you did the best you could at the time. We all do the best we can, right? Just out of curiosity, whenever it was in childhood that left you feeling unsafe, right? Before that point in time, were you the creative, or do you remember, or was it so young you don't remember? Like, I don't remember anymore. Yeah. Actually, I wasn't too young. I remember for me, it wasn't safe. I mean, it wasn't safe because I was too much, right? But that was the ADD. But then when I wanted to do the Peace Corps and singing and all that, it wasn't safe.
It wasn't safe.
It wasn't. I was ridiculed and criticized and for wanting to do that stuff, So I went into business. So look, you want to talk about cycle of the story. So I think a lot of my issues were a lot of shame, anger, and guilt at me, not at them, because I allowed my parents to run my life. I didn't stand strong and say, fuck you, I'm going to Peace Corps.
I know. I've loved it when I hear people do that. Yeah.
But with codependency, like, you don't have a sense of self.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, as I said, my life worked so well out in the streets, because I was just me. You didn't have to hide. And it was beautiful. And this circle is like, I wanted to go to the Peace Corps. I wanted to sing. I ended up going to school for business. I wanted to go for psychology. I let them even tell me, change my major. That's how little I trusted myself. And so I went to school for business, came out, worked at a consulting job for a couple of years, hated business, quit, went to nursing, and then quit. Now I'm back in business. And I'm going, what the hell am I doing? I hated it back then. And now I'm joining a singing group, and I want to volunteer. The lights are getting in the way, but so the cycle of the story. But yeah, I think that, like, on your deathbed, what will be your biggest regret that you say, I wish I?
Well, I do have regrets about not having children, but I don't think I'll say that on my deathbed.
Yeah. What's the one thing that I wish I had more time to do?
Probably. Well, two things come to mind. One, I'll regret not connecting with my sister and her kids. And the other thing is singing. I'll regret that I didn't sing more, or join a band, or make music more. Even though I do make music and I've not stopped, I don't think my potential has been fulfilled or met.
What kind of singing group did you do?
And let me just finish the other one. I have thought that I think I want to be a conductor, but I'm not sure if that's necessarily the case. I think I kind of do, but I kind of, that's why I do this thing called Dalcroze Eurythmics, which I was hired to teach movement in the Dalcroze Eurythmics Conservatory. And I was such a good match because I'm a musician and a dancer, and I had a lot of movement and music skills. So then I thought, okay, I'll get a degree in this because it seems to be a good match, And I'm sort of sitting on this place, like, because I'm not really as good a Dalcroze teacher as my other teachers were, and I don't think I can be as good as them because I can't play the piano as well. So should I keep doing Dalcroze Eurythmics? Should I give up and find my own way? And that's what I've decided. I'm going to find my own way. I have my license in it, so I'm credentialed.
Right.
But I don't have to do it like anyone else. I can do it like myself.
Exactly.
So that's where I'm at with that. So what was the question?
The
regret. Oh yeah,
regret.
Singing.
What kind of singing?
It was a women's a cappella group, small, six, seven voices. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-part harmonies. So we sang, a little bit of madrigal. We sang folk. We sang, spiritual, women's spirituality chants, and, social justice stuff. It was a mixture.
Do you still talk to those women?
I do. I just performed with them in November.
Oh, really?
I decided to sing with them again. So, it was okay. It wasn't a great experience because I feel like it was fine. It was fun.
Yeah.
I still talk to them. They mean a lot to me. They're really important in my life.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I love that. I loved having these women that were just, it was like a support group as well as a creative group, a lot of laughter, and we had a good following.
Do you, when we're talking about vulnerability, it takes a lot of vulnerability to have this conversation, right? Like, how are you feeling? Does it feel uncomfortable? Is it?
No, it's good. It's been really energizing and thought-provoking. And I do feel vulnerable and open, but I don't feel unsafe.
Okay. That's very cool.
And I have an interesting observation that I want to mention.
Yeah.
I project, and you've told me, and you've talked to me, and I've grabbed onto this thing about you listening to your intuition, and I want to do more of that. And as I've watched you do this thing with your eyes where you go like this back and forth. When you're thinking about it, you kind of go like this.
I do move my eyes.
But I feel as though that is connected. That eye movement, I intuitively think that eye movement is somehow related to something. I don't know what it is, but it may be connected to your intuition or something.
I never connected. I never thought of this, but you're probably right, because most of what I do, my thinking, like I have no problem looking in someone's eyes and speaking. But when I'm thinking, I do everything best with my eyes closed. It's the visual. I think it's part of the visual processing disorder, they said. Like when my eyes are closed, I see everything so clearly. So I might be doing just kind of like so I won't have to focus on one thing, and it'll make thinking easier. I don't know. That's a cool thing.
Yeah, I'm interested in that because I think there's eye movement. Eye movement is part of the EMDR thing.
Our thing, yeah. Look, I think
there's something else. Is it neuro-linguistic programming or some other research that talks about eye movement? Like depending on where your eyes look, you're working on your brain or something like that. I don't know.
Makes sense. I actually it was funny. I was on a guest panel once for the United Way, and they'd said to me, I'd asked for critique, because I like critique, because how am I going to improve and stuff if you don't tell me where I was bad and where I was good, right? And she said, well, no, it's good. The only thing is and her complaint was that she goes, well, sometimes though, like when you're getting ready to answer a question, you're kind of like doing your eye thing, like you're thinking about it. And I said, well, I am thinking about it. These are deep questions, these girls. I don't want to just answer. She said, well, it makes it seem like you're unsure of what you're saying. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not going to just blurt something out. Like these were questions teens were asking.
Is even a valuable skill as a presenter, speaker, president. I know it's a tricky thing to show, and I'm not an expert on speaking, but as a teacher, especially with adults, not with kids as much, showing your vulnerability and showing that you go like this and think about it and you don't know all the answers is more truthful. And sometimes more truthful, you have more effect on people. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. And sometimes, to be honest with you, I knew the answers. I just wanted to be careful how I answer it. These were young teens. Yeah. And it was a question about something. I thought, I'm not going to blurt this out. Let me just think how I want to present this. I have no problem. I always have been, even in nursing. Like, I don't know something. I have no problem telling you I don't know it. I'll say, I don't know. Let me find out.
valuable thing. I mean, I think
I
that-
can't know everything. Nobody can know
I think
everything.
doctors sometimes get fucked up because they can't.
Well,
say,
I'll tell
"Hello."
you what, lawsuits. I've seen, I think a key in healthcare and being sued. We had one doctor who was horrendous. She made so many mistakes. She never got sued. And I worked with her 15 years. She was also the doctor who, if she made a mistake, would say to the patient, I am really sorry. My judgment, I should have done this instead of that. Because people just want validation. They want to
Yeah.
hear you're sorry. Try to cover
Exactly.
something up and they get pissed. 'Cause
Right.
it's all,
Well,
yeah. But she
Right.
never got sued. She should have for some, but she
Sure.
owned up to her mistakes and people were okay with that.
Yeah. I'd
Yeah.
much
What?
doctors say, I don't know, I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
rather
Or
than
even I
ask-
screwed up, because you know what? And that's the thing, like I used to hate with healthcare. They're saying like they're human beings.
Yeah.
No one can be right 100% of the time. You can't, you know? With this conversation though, how would you describe this?
This conversation?
Yeah, like the kind of questions that, did it do anything on a scale? And you can be totally honest. And this may be something that down the line, like in a few weeks, you'll resonate more.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
at this moment, on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being not a waste of time, nice conversation, but didn't help you at all, to 10 being it was amazing, let's do it again.
I have to say that just making a commitment to have a 2-hour conversation about myself, setting the time, space aside, is in and of itself a really potent thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the things that go into preparing for it and thinking about it and imagining it, I think that is a lot in and of itself, in the sense of self-care and also just self, you're taking action to improve
Mhm.
yourself. Good thing. And it's kind of sacred in a way. There's like a little, I've been praying a little bit the last couple of days, so there's a kind of a sacredness about it. And I like the going back and forth, and I feel like it's kind of, I mean, I'm getting a lot out of it. I'm really feeling good about it. I don't mind the back and forth. I like that you're sharing some of your own self-disclosure about it. That actually is helpful to me. And I've had little like, how is this different than therapy? And I like that. That it's not therapy. I like that there's a peer aspect of it. That the thing you said about wanting a parent around, I think that dynamic happens in therapy, which is, supposedly curative and potentially corrective, but I think it can also get in the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the part of me that doesn't have that parent thing right now, that as you were saying, and I was remembering, I really like not having it. So I'm appreciating that right now. And I'll see what as the days go on, I'll share with you other reflections.
Yeah. I mean, is this something for people? Would you ever consider this a service that you'd pay for, like monthly or occasionally, just when you needed it?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
It's like a coaching session.
That's right. Is it? I'm trying to think of another word versus coaching, though.
You're not liking the coaching word?
I'll tell you why I don't like coaching, because there's so many frigging coaches out there. Anyone can call themselves a coach, and not that I'm special, but
It's a big thing now.
I don't think this is exactly. It's more. I know what I do. I'm a prober. I probe. It helps people develop some more self-awareness.
Yeah.
Because I ask you questions that most people don't take the time to ask themselves, right?
Yeah, you have some good questions. Yeah.
But how do I don't know what to term it. I mean, coaching might be the only way I have to do it. I don't know how else.
Maybe. Because it has an existing market.
I know.
There's enough
I just have
people who need it. I would think there's enough people who need coaches that You know,
Yeah.
it's sort of
Is it self-awareness coaching? What is it? What would you call it? Connection,
like
self-connection?
purpose coaching. I'm compelled with I'm drawn by your story of how you changed your life, and you're drawn to live by your intuition. That's my own personal. So I don't know if it's
Yeah.
in, you know, it's coaching to help you find your life purpose.
To find you?
Huh?
To find you? To find you?
Coaching to, yeah, I'll think about it.
Yeah, that's because I gotta be honest with you. I know these things are valuable, and I know because people have told me they are, right? Like out of 40 people officially that I've interviewed, 39 are like, everybody needs these on a regular basis. How do you sell them? You know, the one
Yeah.
girl I did sell it to, she scheduled one. I actually said to her, I'm like, look, I think they're so valuable that if you don't feel you got any value, and this is where the trust is too. A friend of mine's like, you can't do that. I'm like, yes, I can. If on a scale of 0 to 10, you tell me you got 0 value, then I will give you your money back, is what I said to her. Because I do feel that. I feel, and I'm willing to trust. Yeah, I mean, if I start getting everyone saying, nope, no value, no, then I'll go, okay, maybe I'm being too trusting. But
won't
it's
happen,
something
yeah.
that people don't understand until they kind of go through it. And if you could see with the women I worked with, the more you feel unseen, the more impactful. Like welfare women, this was friggin' hugely impactful. I had 3 people make major changes in 6 months, attributed it only to this conversation because they felt seen. That's huge.
That is huge, and it makes me think that population is the one that needs it the most, you know?
Well, that's why, yeah. And I
Anybody.
went into nonprofits and saying, listen, pilot this. I'm telling you, this is huge. Seeing somebody doesn't take that much effort. And it has a huge impact. But they wanted to see evidence-based information. And I found a lot of evidence-based on emotional stuff, but not on being seen. I found tons of articles. I said, well, I have 40 in it. They're like, that's not good enough. We need it published in a thing, you know? And so, I don't know. But I know these things are just, and I think the more technology we get, the more social media, the more these are going to be needed.
I suppose it's true. I mean,
We'll see. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think it provides a great service.
Yeah.
Have you thought about doing it for free in some of these organizations as a way of starting?
Yeah. And I still have there, and you know, it's women, nonprofit leaders who have their wall up so high, they're like, nah. And I said, and I'll say to them, do one with me. It's just between you and me. You tell me if you don't think it had any impact on you, then I'll walk away. And they're like, nah, yeah, a conversation, yeah. I'm like, don't underplay a conversation.
Yeah, really. I think you have something there. I think you have to keep trying.
I do. I just don't know. I'm putting on my website. I'm like, I can put the benefits for people, but I don't know what to call it. It must just be coaching. But then it can be a one and done. You know what I mean? It's not an ongoing, not that that makes it a great product, but I thought someone's confidant. No, that's not right. Emotional support. No, like
Word
I'm a
probing
human.
is an interesting word.
Well, I liked, but I don't know if people, you know, when someone said to me, what are you?
Intrusive, yeah.
Well, I said, I'm a human landscaper. I said, I like go in and like dig up the soil, plant a few seeds, water it, and then magic happens over time. And I think that's why I have my thing on coaching. I am not a transformational coach. You know what I mean? I may be, but I don't know if I necessarily transform people. I give them the tools, the encouragement, and that being seen or heard is a lot of times the transformation in itself. You know, so I don't know. I know this is the product. I'm not sure how to, how to package it, or what to call it. You know,
idea of being heard, the being heard is an important component.
Yeah. Well, if you think of anything, you know, being you've gone through one, And a lot of times what people tell me too is, you know, a week from now, a couple weeks from now, something goes, wait, remember back on that conversation? That's what I said. I don't think I'm an ongoing coach. Even when my talks I do, there's not a 1, 2, 3. I think I'm the kind of person like 6 months, year from now, you're going to go, wow, remember we heard that lady? Maybe we'll try. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think of coaches as something that give you a package, you know, so you have lots of sessions and you have like a, I don't know if that's,
Yeah.
I've never really had a coach.
Well, I have, and they help you get to uncover and motivate you. So it is kind of coaching. I just,
It is a type of, the word conversation is nice too. Have you done some like artwork that plays with some of these words and some of the images and maybe that'll help?
no, I've been a little too linear in it, you know, because I've been trying to just market it to healthcare. Now I went, you know, fuck it. They did.
I like a conversation.
Yeah, I call it like a conversation with the heart. So it's going to be like
I like
the book.
heart too. I like the heart. I think that's
and
good.
heart. Yeah, heart's an acronym that stands for honesty, empathy, acceptance, relatability, and trust. And the woman who's helping me write my book, she's like, you know, this book's really good. This is a series. She said, I see this like a chicken soup of the soul thing. And I'm like, oh, I could do that. But I need to just step into me so I can free up that creativity that I've kind of blocked over the past few months, you know? But yeah, the messaging.
You've got a title. You've got a title, a conversation with heart.
I know, but what does it do? Like, how do I say what it does in a quick thing? And, you know, I have gotten into my head. I never was before. When I quit work, I didn't have any beliefs. I went out, whatever. I talked to anyone, met with the mayor, like I just reached out to all these people and I'd go. But over time, having professional business people say, what do you do? What do you do? Just focus. What do you do? I developed a belief based on actual feedback. And I think in reality, I was just selling to the wrong audience. That's all, you know.
You developed what belief?
I got hesitant about telling people what I do. I almost dread the question because I didn't know how to say what I did succinctly.
Yeah. I've always had trouble saying what I do. I've always chosen careers that are hard to define. I'm a dance movement therapist. What's dance movement therapy? Blah, blah, blah. I do Dalcroze eurythmics. What's Dalcroze eurythmics? Blah, blah. You know, and I have little blurbs. I sometimes I can define it really well. Yes. But it's totally not the same every time I define it.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you pick careers that you can't define. And I since have become more understanding of and accepting when people don't know how to speak clearly. Especially, you know, I do these movement improv sessions with dancers and choreographers, and they're like, blah, blah. They're so not articulate with their words because they're, you know, they want to teach, they want to keep things ambiguous on some level, and I think on another level they don't know how to say what they. And I have more patience with that. Like, you know, you're struggling with what to call this. Maybe that's where you need to be right now. It's okay to not.
Yeah.
To not.
I know. Yeah. So that's what I said. It's funny because I'm getting more comfortable with myself, but I think it's the dark night of the soul. Like I'm going, oh my God, I want to feel like I used to. Life was so easy. What the hell did I do? And I know I did the right thing. I just have to, I think I'm at the point I need to just let go. And that's what I've done. I'm like, screw it. I'm done. Yeah. I'm going to go and I'm doing a radio show. I'm going to do my radio show and I'm going to do what I envision, traveling cross country, talking to groups of people. I don't know how I get paid for it, but I'm going to just trust but that's what I have to do. I'm not going to fuck with this stuff anymore. I don't care.
So exciting. It's so scary and so exciting.
Yeah, it is.
You hear people talk about this. I have a friend who lives that way, and she you know, she's my model, but you hear stories of people that do that. Like your story is one of them. You know, they say, I'm just going to trust, I'm going to travel, I'm going to deal with everything as it comes and know that somehow I'll survive and get to the next place. And my friend, she lives her life that way.
Yeah.
There's very minimal resources. My husband is the opposite of that. He needs to control and plan and manage, and he has no trust.
Yeah. Well, and that is the thing, like, you know, at the end of the day, letting go is controlling. And I always have had control in my life. I controlled it enough to have it be uncontrolled, unstructured. You know what I mean? But I'm very much in the moment, and I know why I was like that now, because my brain works best. My brain does not work well when I try to plan and do all this stuff, because I just get confused.
That's such helpful insight. It's so
I get confused. And you want to hear something crazy with the visual processing that I always like, I'll close my eyes and I'm like, okay, I know exactly what I have to do. But then I go do it. And it's like I have dementia. I'm like, oh shit, close my eyes again. And I think I told you in the cognitive testing, the thing with the dice. Yeah. But, oh, and with dancing, someone took me to dance. Did I tell you that one? I can't remember. I went dancing with a friend of mine once. He was giving me dance lessons and I was tripping all over his feet. And after like half hour, 40 minutes, I said to him, you know what? Hold on a second. And I closed my eyes. Son of a bitch, I look like Ginger Rogers. I just went with the feel of the music.
That's so fascinating.
When I think, I trip myself up. I just have to go from which is scary as shit. I did a talk with 50 other people the other day and I'm going like, I have no clue what I'm gonna say. And it ended up I thought it was an hour. It was supposed to be it would end up being a half an hour. And I'm like, oh shit, now I got scared. Now I'm like, you know the way I talk, like half an hour. So, but yeah, creative, it is like, I'm a minimalist, but I also like really nice things. I don't think I'll ever achieve balance. So I just have to feel connected and safe with me the way I am. But I think balance is just ain't happening with my brain. And that's okay. You know.
Hey, it's a great testimony that you share about that cognitive learning. That's really, a lot of people are out there probably without having
well, that's it. And like, you know, the groups I hang around with you're just using an excuse. I'm like, okay, I'm not saying I can't do something. I'm saying I haven't figured out how to do it yet, right? I said, but if you're asking me to totally ignore it, it would be like not having a leg and getting up every day and falling down, going, nope, the leg's there, the leg's there. I'm still falling down. Like I still haven't figured it out. So it's a hard one to figure out. But when I was diagnosed, when they told me though, I went, oh my God, all those women that I took care of who've had trauma, right? Because I know this is from trauma. All the women had trauma who would say to me, like, I just can't succeed the way other people do. I try and I do the same things and it doesn't work out. I'm going, hello, no kidding. Like, I just happen to be pig-headed and don't give up. But imagine if a lot of people in poverty have these cognitive issues. But then you're beating yourself up. In reality, you just need to learn a different way of thinking, which isn't really out there yet, but it will be. But, you know. Yeah, so I just went, oh my God, it explains so much.
You know, I do feel like more of myself right now. Talking with you about my singing group.
Yeah.
And the things that made me feel more myself, remind me of that. And I have a mirror, so I'm kind of looking at myself a little bit because I'm in the dance studio. The mirrors up. Wow, they installed them. You just noticed that. That's great. I thought they were leaning. Anyway, I do feel a little bit more of myself. I'm feeling my father. I'm feeling my mother. I'm feeling my brother. I'm feeling my sister. I'm feeling the dawnness of my growing up in that weird house where it didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
All the emotional crap that was running around, and the longing and the longing for attention and my struggle with my mentors, you know, my need for authority and hate of authority, and how that, I just feel all that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
No problem. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a couple of things. It's one, because I think because I know what it's like not to feel seen. Like my goal a long time ago was to make people feel seen and heard, because I knew the way I felt not to feel seen as your
Right.
authentic. But I think the second piece too is, do you feel like you have to put on any pretenses right now? Like
No,
pretend? Yeah, I think that's key.
I think you're right.
You're authentic. You don't have to be in your head. You can
And,
just be you, right?
and yeah, and you know, we don't have to resolve these things. We're not going to go back and change or fix, or, you know, or there's no big insight of, you know, like, oh, now I'm, you know, or a special technique or a drug. It's just kind of, here it is, you know,
Yeah.
kind of how I
Well,
feel.
because in reality, like I have the answer in me, you have the answer in you. Everyone's got the answer in them. There are tools that can help you with skills, but when it comes to being stuck, when it comes to all that stuff, you have everything you need. I know what I have to do. I just block myself sometimes, and that's okay, because I must be needing something, or there must be some lesson to learn, right? But
That's true. The lessons are learned. Yeah, that's why you're not succeeding in the way that you wanted to succeed, because you're needing to learn this.
right. And that's why I say my whole life I've always done, whenever things go wrong, I'm like, okay, what's the lesson? Makes it a lot easier to deal with
I
shit and go,
bet.
what's the lesson? Because then it's kind of fun,
And
kind
that's
of
kind of
game.
what the astrology, I had an astrology reading a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I haven't had one in 35, 40 years. And that was part of the lesson with, well, that was part of the material was, you know, that you're going through these things because you have to learn this. I forget exactly what it was, but you have things to learn.
But yeah, you know what I've learned, and it's funny when I start in these conversations, and I see it all the time. I get triggered sometimes because I go, "Oh God," when you were talking about your mom, I'm like, "Oh shit, I did that with my son." So I
Yeah,
learn, but that's why I started these a long time ago. Is I
you're learning
learn,
too.
I'm learning. It's beneficial for both,
Yeah,
but in talking to the thousands of people, these conversations I've had over the years informally, know that you are not alone, because 9 out of 10 people I've spoken to have the same reserves, the same fears, the same judgments.
what about that one person that doesn't have them? Who's that?
Yeah,
That way, huh?
they had very healthy, supportive parents. I think it all comes down to feeling supported. That's it. You will, if you know someone has your back, you can try anything. And I see it in my kids, because even though I may have screwed up, and not screwed up, I did the best I could, but I didn't give them some of the tools they needed, and I may have passed on some bad habits. What I did do when I had kids is I said to myself, my kids are going to feel loved, and they're going to feel safe, and they're going to know no matter what, I am there to catch them if they fall. Right. And so my son and I'll talk about that, and he's like, that's huge. And I see the difference. I see not only what he's willing to put out, but I see the way the world responds to it. It's different, because coming from, like, me in business, I'm gathering I come off kind of needy, right? Because I'm like, look, I know what my issue is. Look, I've been trying so hard. Finally, I have a woman from SCORE who I found, but it's taken 2 years to say to someone, help me figure out a schedule. I get up, I don't even know how to schedule my day. So I sent her a list of all the things I've got to do. And I'm like, I don't know how to schedule this.
Yeah.
But no one's been able, I've been asking, but no one will give me that. They're like, well, here's what you have to do with your beliefs. I'm like, oh, fuck you. This is not like, this is something different. So, but anyhow, but I think that underlying feeling safe. And so my whole learning that I didn't know 2 years ago was that in reality, the only way to stay physically and emotionally well is to feel safe within yourself, so that fuck the rest of the world. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't matter what they say to you, doesn't matter what they do, doesn't matter what's going on around with you. You know that you can get yourself to a place where you feel safe. And the three things I've done that: breathing, gratitude, and now this thing. That is so damn calming. It just brings you right home, no matter what's going on. It may not last for a long time, but at least,
You can return to it again. I think it does help bring your baseline of safety up.
well, and there is actually a thing, it's called heart math, that's about heart coherence, and how, like, if you're not in coherence, your heart is intuitive. And so the heart works with the body, but if your heart is not in alignment with who you are, with your intuition, with that calmness, then the body's not. And that's where chronic toxic stress comes. You have fight or flight. So if you can calm this, then you can possibly calm the inflammation that comes in the body from going into fight or flight, you know? So, I don't know.
Good.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, my therapist gave me the book Radical Acceptance. Do you know about that
Okay.
book?
I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
Rock. I mean, she gets into that. I guess she's a therapist, and Buddhist was her practice, her meditation practice. And she kind of made this insight of how hard she was trying to meditate and how judgmental she was, that she wasn't doing a better job. It was kind of like the paradox. You relax, you're not doing it. You're doing a terrible job relaxing, you know. It kind of contradicted the whole purpose. Anyway, yeah. She gives, I guess she gives, in that book, she gives a lot of meditations that get you to that.
And here's the thing with meditation, like I have ADD, right? And I always have had it. I developed shortcuts, you know, because I can't hold my attention that long. The only thing I can hold my attention too long is this conversation, because it's interesting. I learn, it's engaging, it's almost creative to me.
Yeah,
right?
It's very creative. Yeah.
Yeah, but working out, doing all that stuff. So what's really cool is I would teach people shortcuts. I'm like the queen of shortcuts. You don't have to meditate for 20 minutes or an hour. Like when I started meditating and started the breathing, I just picked one thing I did a lot throughout the day. And at the time I was doing home care. So I was in and out of my car like 20 times a day. So every time I touched the steering wheel, I'd go,
yeah,
just for a few minutes. That was meditating. All meditating mean is you're clearing your mind. That's it.
And you're in the moment. You're present.
And you're in the moment. Now, there does get to a point, it backfires. When I first started, I was so in the moment looking, I went, oh shit, I was driving the wrong way down a one-way street. I'm like, can't be that much in the moment. Yeah, you have to be careful. But I mean, that, seriously, meditation, it's just being able to sit in quiet and breathe and feel your body. That's it. You do it for a couple minutes, good enough. Do it. If you do like 5 minutes every hour, you'll eventually get to a place where I'm totally fine sitting for hours just in quiet, you know? And
I like it too. I don't know about hours, but I like it. I go to contemplative dance once a week for 6 weeks. They're on break now, but we sit for 20 minutes. We do 20 minutes of stretching and personal awareness practice. And then we do 5 minutes of sitting. And then we do 20 minutes of improvisational dance with each other. You go into the space or you leave the space at your preference. While you're watching others dance, you're well-wishing.
What's well-wishing? Wishing them well?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Well-wishing.
Where's this class?
This is at the Shambhala Center in Center City. 20th and
I need something like that. I'm looking forward to see when I do the singing class. Because I know when I sing, the world disappears. I mean, like the real me comes out with anything creative. Playing the piano, singing, dancing. Like I know, like you do, I can feel that is.
That's my workshop next Saturday.
Yeah?
I'm teaching a workshop next Saturday here.
Okay. And where's the address? I'll come. Don't worry, I'm used to the hood. I'll come to the hood.
2519 Germantown Avenue.
Okay. And what time should you think?
10 o'clock.
Okay. Germantown Avenue. What is the date next week?
It's January 4th.
Holy shit. Time's flying. If time would slow down, I would feel a lot better.
10 to 11:30. 10 is only an hour and a half.
Okay.
And it'll be free for you because you're going to be a guest. And it might just be a very few people, but
that's okay. All right,
Anyway.
cool. I'll be there.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome. All right.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go for a walk right now, but when I come back, when this downloads, I'll send you this. I will probably have to send it through WeTransfer. So WeTransfer, it's a free site because it's going to be too big to send. So you'll
What about
see
Google Drive? No? Google Drive? No?
I can try it.
Whatever you want to do.
So WeTransfer, it's free. It'll just say you'll get an email from Leslie Peters. I think it's 827@gmail, and it's going to say someone sent you files. Just go in, download it. You don't have to look at it now, but after 7 days it goes away. So you've got to download it after 7 days. It's totally safe. Use all the time. My son, the studios are the one that's told me about it.
Right.
And yeah, so it'll come from that. Okay.
Great. I'll try it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. And if you need anything, let me know. I'm going to go walk.
I will.
And yeah, if not, I'll see you Saturday.
All right.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Leave me.
Yeah.